So I'm here with Will Goodall from...
Hello, Mr. Hobson.
Hello, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you.
So I've known Will for a number of years, and he's a bit of a legend in his own industry. With Elevate, you've been with Elevate. What are we coming up to now, Will?
Coming up to 3 years in March.
3 years in March, I think.
It's flown by.
Yeah, and I think when I started in the MSP circle, you were just moving over to Elevate, which was perfect because I got to know you properly. I've known the guys over at Elevate for a long time, and I know the area of connectivity, but since I moved out of there, it's changed, and I'm really, really glad that you come over today, because I think what a lot of people want to understand is what's going on with connectivity. At the moment, the stress in the marketplace is obviously around AI and the boom of AI. And I think, businesses now, they're running on things like Modern Workplace, they've got ChatGPT implementation, Microsoft Copilot is running, aggressively across most estates, and all of that does require good comms. So we come out of that year of COVID now and people moving out of offices. So what are you seeing the uptake like now within connectivity in the workplace, and what are people looking for?
What a big question.
It's
Could be all day. We're seeing a lot of movement from our partners where businesses are pulling more people back into their offices, particularly in city centres. So I think, for example, even massive businesses like Virgin, etc., have opened up city centre in Manchester, new offices, BT, etc. So we're seeing a spike in requirements in cities, and then sitting behind that is AI, which I've been reliably told is artificial intelligence. And a lot of businesses it's the hot buzzword, isn't it? I'm sure you guys get offered it. Different products and different things, and we're seeing partners use it a number of ways. So some are automating things, be it coding, program work. Others are able to really bring it into their phone system to try and not fall down the trap of adding more people all the time. So if they can automate their phone journey for their customers, they're looking at that. They're looking at everything to do with AI in terms of the products you mentioned there. And a lot of that's driving bandwidth demand across there, because the more you use something, the stronger the dependency it creates. So it's quite exciting in the market. I think, as with all things, buzzwords are great, but sometimes it's better to properly understand the benefits, the features, and not just look at it as a cost-saving tool. I think if you look at it as a customer experience enhancement, then I think that's where we're seeing partners do quite well with it.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I know you well. I know your team well, and again, AI adoption just shows you. I mean, yourself have just alluded to there, where you're pausing and thinking about it before understanding where it can be implemented. I think it is a buzzword at the moment, but I do think it's causing a lot of strain on connectivity. But I think connectivity in general could be looked at in the same way as a cost-saving exercise. And I just want to get rid of the myth of, broadband, or now, best endeavoured services. Things like at home, I have a gig, Virgin line, right?
But better than me.
Yeah, and look, it gives me great speeds, but I couldn't say that was business critical because I understand connectivity. But if I'm looking at a business and the reliance on all the tools in that business and spending a lot of money on the staff, that office and that environment, and one thing that I still think needs highlighting is the importance of the connectivity going into that business. So in 2026, is it sensible to have anything other than a lease line into a business?
The salesman in me says everybody needs a lease line, but I think the market view would be depending on the business, depending on the nature of the business. So kind of with this, we've probably had over the last 5 or 6 years, I think probably 5 years ago when I was with a different company, we were looking at, I think 10% of the UK had fibre.
Yeah.
And I think in the last 5 years, 6 years, that percentage has massively increased, 60, 70, 80%, something around that area. So the access for businesses to fibre has never been greater. What does that mean? I suppose the outcome is, as you mentioned there's some broadband products or fibre to the premise that have really high bandwidth, so a number of users can utilise it. So we've got more access, but where I think it's interesting, and probably a business like yours probably lands on this page, where you're looking at underpinning a full suite of products on the internet connection, the greater the level of dependence on it would be something I'd always encourage a business to look at and say, actually, the internet's an outcome product, I call it. So basically it's not the sexiest of products, but it enables a load of cool stuff that people can offer. And if you are dependent on that, then at that point, I think you should always look at the service level agreement on that connection. You can get backup connections if the main one falls down, because we see a lot of our partners, customers particularly in office blocks, you're paying a huge amount of rent for the floor space for your staff and the phones and the equipment and all the kind of good stuff that comes with that. And if they are unable to work, that's a massive cost to the business, dead cost effectively. So kind of my long-winded answer to your question is to always look at what the connectivity underpins. We've had partners who've sold to high street stores where a dedicated connection is just used for, the cards and the tills.
Yeah, of course.
And there's 4 or 5 people in there, but if that till's not working for a few hours,
sales aren't there.
It's one that a business has looked at, and sometimes people will go maybe for a cheaper option, and it can limit you in other things you look at, which is interesting with AI and different voice products and support and software and firewalls and all that stuff. So always look at what it underpins would be my probably advice.
Yeah, and I like that, and it's what I've always liked about the team where you are, that it's not a sales thing, it's always an exploration of, let's understand the risk to your business, are we right for you? And that's the same approach that we take at Apex. I think that's why we chose you as a partner to go through for connectivity, or if it's not been someone that we can look after, we passed it over to yourselves, knowing that you look at it from that same point as us, as what's the risk to the business? Do they actually require this product? And then go out from there. Myself personally, with a lot of the stuff that we do at the moment, there's not many opportunities that I come up with now where the lesser connectivity will work for the client. And that is just because they've told me all the critical things that are involved in that environment, and staff become very frustrated when things aren't working. I think the other thing for me is having a team like yourself at the end of the phone, and I think that's something that's quite important as well. If you are dealing with those broadband type FTT services, the team at the end of the phone that you're going through, the actual time for resolution's a lot less, and I think it's something to consider if you're looking for a business class service, what business class is.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I've always thought with ourselves, our role is to support our partners and to react if there's things that we get wrong, to improve on, if there's things that we do well, to do more of that, but to always listen to our partners, who ultimately, kind of without sounding too sycophantic, pay our wages in terms of, hopefully placing orders with us. And the partners we work with, particularly you guys, it's important for us that we line up at a front end where you can see each other and you go, how are you doing? Is family all right? And all that stuff. But then operationally behind the scenes. So the better service we can give you, the better service you can give to your customers. We're supporting each other to grow. I think that's the whole reason we exist. And it's so, especially in our industry, where I think there's a Justin Trudeau quote, isn't it? Something like, the pace of change has never been so fast, but it'll never be as slow, or something along them lines. And like, literally, it's rapid. AI is coming in, there's different facets of technology, and I think it's important we work with partners who are able to kind of distill that for businesses who ultimately, they just want the outcome of those products, so that it'll help them sell more machinery, or to run more marketing campaigns for their customers, or to contact more and sell more insurance, or whatever that may be, their go-to-market. They don't want to have to worry about stuff that they take for BAU. You expect the phone to work, you expect the internet to work, you expect if a customer has an issue and you're in Apex, that you'll answer and you'll deal with the challenges that are faced. It's kind of just a given in terms of an expectation, and for that, is no small feat.
No, it isn't. I think I look at my house now, and I had an outage a few weeks ago, and everything went off. The TV, the security cameras, we had no music. Was
the swimming pool okay, and the sauna and the jacuzzi,
the swimming
was
pool
that all right?
and the sauna weren't okay. The hot tub went down because I was connected to it, so the alarm was going off on that, which everyone enjoys, laughing at our hot tub. But yeah, absolutely every element of my house, including the washing machine, was just like pointless for a while. And you are right, it's a given expectation that it's going to be back up and running, right? So, I'm having to tether off my mobile phone, but yeah, it wasn't a fun experience, that. And I think, in a business setting, I just expect it to work. And I think
and phones are all, phones are different now, whereas historically, I'll show my age here, you've got your analog lines and it's separate from the internet. Now, if your internet goes down, your phones go down, and if you've got 30 or 40 staff on the phones, calls coming in, if you can't take calls, the whole sort of machinery stops. And like domestically, the scenario you talk about,
couldn't even watch the football.
No, well, probably good thing for you. Is
that good for you, or? I believe it's not been so.
We done all right. We did all right.
When did you last do all right?
1927. So pretty much. But no, and I think the domestic one's a good example, because I reference that when I speak to partners, because you expect stuff to be working.
No, I do.
But then if it doesn't, all roads lead back to you as the individual at the home. So your kids, Dad, it's not working, can you sort it? And they realise that they've lost the ability to play outside if your kids are like mine, and they like their iPads and all that technology, and getting a resolution, it's a challenge, isn't it? And I think probably a lot of your customers and other businesses, when they look at stuff, is you judge something on when it goes wrong and how did they respond? Did you give you updates? Did they fix it? Did they keep you informed? Was it a nightmare? Customers don't forget, partners don't forget either in those situations. So kind of, it helps you, and like you've done, relate your domestic to your business, because I'm sure it's, if you have a customer that has a great experience, which is the aim, they'll tell people. If they have a bad experience, they're probably not going to come back. It's going to go, and I think that's a key thing for any business, to make sure your structure's solid, so you limit as many challenges that you or your customers might face.
Yeah, I think the way we see things is very much that, it's the only experience we want to give is a great one. We don't hide behind contracts. As an organisation, we actually give 30-day terms at Apex, which we rely on our support out there working. Obviously, it's different world you're in. Contractual services get you the costs that you require and allow you to put those connections in place. So I know how equally it is important wise for you to give us and to give that customer a great experience, which is where we really push forward together and work together to make sure that client is happy and understand all the risks that are involved in any connectivity, no matter who it is. But having a good team there really helps us. I think with the AI stuff at the moment, I think we've discussed it a little bit, but the strain that it's having on the environment isn't all positive. At the moment, there's not just positive stories coming out. We're seeing a lot of rising costs in data centers, the memory spike that's come up at the moment. RAM costs are through the roof. And data center space has become a premium, which is really tricky for your industry because obviously you're looking to pop out as many places as possible with great connectivity. So we've got that reach across the country. Is there anything though that you think that you're going to see from that AI world that's going to be positively impacting your environment anytime soon? I know in our place, that the lost hours, for someone like myself in Excel have disappeared. Most stuff on Copilot I can actually get out very quickly and I can show someone how they can achieve that target. But I suppose in connectivity, that the area that I was really interested in, there still seems to be a bit of a 1980s deployment when a certain vendor goes out to put stuff out there. Is that going to help them? Are they looking at adopting AI? Are you aware?
$1 million question. So I think all businesses are looking at it and adopting a lot of it in different areas. So customer service is a big focus for a lot of organizations. I use some domestic suppliers and theirs isn't a fully AI customer service person that you speak to and all that kind of good stuff. In terms of kind of delivery, ultimately you'll need men and women in vans connecting and doing all that good stuff, but things like configuring kit, potentially planning out an installation, potentially managing where infrastructure is, because one of the challenges in our industry is because you've got, I think you have OpenReach, then you have Virgin, which is a collection of a number of cable companies all over the country, and then you've got 100 altnets. You've got infrastructure everywhere, and sometimes to properly plan and deliver is a challenge. So potentially there's going to be automation there that can consolidate and enable smooth experiences for customers. I mean, ultimately, can't shy away from it. This perceived, probably rightly, standard of expectation is quite low from customers because the experience is more often than not been poor, and when it is poor, it impacts, as we said earlier at the start. Without connectivity, it stops everything. So one of my things is I think standards is no bad thing to talk about it and want to improve it, and I think AI is a piece of that. I think customer centric or partner centric approaches is fundamental. And excuse my language, ultimately you need people and providers that give a shit. And I think you look at yourself and people, if a customer has a challenge, you care about getting it resolved, and I think that's a big thing that we really want to focus on, and we've had joy with that, where if we have made a mistake, we own it and we work to fix it and we're accountable. And I think that's something we'd always encourage in certainly the connectivity space, that sort of awareness to put your partners first and understand the challenges that you guys face and not kind of look at it as it's not our problem sort of philosophy.
Yeah, and I like the fact that with yourselves, you adopt that approach of you do employ a lot of people who would be seen as veterans in your industry. I know you're not quite a veteran yet. Well,
the amount of grey hairs I've got, it's amazing.
I know we've both got young families, and it's the way they view technology and everything we view in such a different way, and their expectation of the phone, the iPad, and all those things is it's an expected application. Where
that's the next stage, isn't it? Really, where you've got kind of, and you guys will see it. I'm interested what you think in terms of you've got customers approaching you saying, what's this AI, blah blah blah, but then we've got a generation kind of coming into the workspace who maybe went through COVID at university and things like that, where their dependence on technology is up a level in terms of that, and our kids kind of going through and they're using AI in school and becoming a lot more au fait than perhaps a lot of the workforce are currently, and they're coming up and driving that demand, and it's going to be interesting to see how our partners manage that, because we want AI, it's the next big thing, and I don't need to hire 20 people because this is going to do X, Y, Z, or I can, pains me to say it, but people looking at it in other businesses and industries saying, well, we can get rid of 5,000 people because we can automate.
That's scary.
You're kind of looking at that, and it's, I suppose, I would assume, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're having to become super tooled up on something to then advise a business whether it is or isn't the right thing, or if it's elements of it, or how do you go about that?
I think as a human, number one, I'm always confident and positive. I think that machines can do certain things, but they can't repeat what I do. And we've got a great relationship through being human beings. You can't have that relationship with an AI tool. So it's interesting that a lot of people haven't got confidence just yet. They've got more fear. And that is because there's bad businesses out there who would always do that. A clever business and a business, look, the business I work in, where we've adopted AI, we may have an admin heavy role that is just used wasted hours. That has become now not important, because we've filled that with some great AI tools and freed up that finance to create another great position within the business that person maybe taking that role would have had anyway.
And it gives
so we're not looking to
more customer focused.
Exactly, we're looking to go more hands-on, more approached. And you're right with those users. So you've got a generation of users who are quite fearful, don't want it in place, but they need to accept certain elements because it's going to affect the business no matter what. And then that university age that's coming through at the moment, that actually if you don't have an AI product in your workplace, they'll probably use one in the background and they'll probably not accept your job offer over someone else's. This isn't something that's been adopted in just businesses like our own in IT. You're looking at legal, that it's groundbreaking in that industry at the moment.
Yeah. It's interesting as well, because we're seeing kind of, even if I look at ourselves, our commercial function, there's an AI suite of products that is supporting them, focusing on stuff, finance, sales, people, you can put a proposal together and compare yourself to your competitor and all that. But then I suppose a compliance point of view that we're kind of looking at as a business is, if you don't have a strategy with AI and a set of governance around it, you run the risk of, because like I said before, people are using it, you could have something really important to a business that someone is given as a task, and they literally copy and paste it and put it on their own AI tool that they're using, that you don't have control over as a business, and suddenly, private information can be accessed elsewhere. And you've seen loads of instances where businesses have been hacked over the last couple of years, and so it needs that. You need to be aware of it, but you need that governance, don't you?
It does, and it comes into the the cyber security point, you know, with yourselves, you've got a really secure network up to the endpoint. When it comes to that endpoint, how that's managed by the customer and left is expected something, it's then open to trouble. And that's the same as an IT environment, unless you put the measures in place. So my thing for all businesses at the moment is, number one, understand that if you have staff in place and they've been using AI, they will continue using AI at some level. And you've got to control that data that's going in there. A lot of businesses will say to, oh, staff don't use AI. And then they've got staff drawing up CVs on AI. So they just put all the personal details, everything into that. In a workplace environment, you know, locking down that data early doors is really important. So you have to go through a stepped process of pausing, saying we are using AI tools. We now need you all just to pause while we work this out. Then you need to put your governance in play, as you said, control over that data. And then you need to choose how you're going to adopt that and how it's going to benefit people. And also enabling people to use those tools is really important. There's no instruction book for most of these tools. But I think if you take a nice relaxed approach like that, you can get to the bottom of it. I think, you know, you probably would worry as a business owner if you ran something to see how many different tools were being used in your business. So it would be worth doing some checks in the background. If you don't believe it's being used, because it probably is.
Yeah.